A very good evening to you all. Welcome to the English News Bulletin here on Rwanda Television. We will begin with the headlines. In light of environmental protection and climate change resilience, investors applaud Rwanda's visionary investment policies promoting eco-friendly production. Janine Urambaziki, a survivor of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, has lived in France for 30 years and now is looking for her family. My name is Olive Nete. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. Let us go to the news in details. In light of environmental protection and climate change resilience, investors applaud Rwanda's visionary investment policies promoting eco-friendly production, especially in the packaging sector. This comes as the country gears up to participate in the forthcoming 29th conference of the parties of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. William Evans kicks us off tonight.
When it comes to combating climate change, everyone has a role to play. Businesses can use data and information to align their business practices with climate pledges by producing eco-friendly products that support sustainability and mitigate plastic waste. These biobags are made in Rwanda out of cassava and maize residues and decompose in only 120 days.
Rwanda, being a pioneer in banning the plastic and having very aggressive environment against the plastic, we wanted to provide the solution and we wanted to start from this country. The home compostable polymer itself is a premium polymer which is made out of plant-based material. It doesn't require any kind of special conditions when it is dumped on the ground or it is being thrown on the landfill. So being the support and the policies of the Rwanda was so appreciating for us, so we started our pilot project from this country, which we want to escalate to the whole Africa and other part of the world. Biopolymer, right now there are very few manufacturers of this material on the earth. As a earth biobag, we are also into processing of biopolymers and also manufacturing of biopolymers.
With the world experiencing more extreme weather events, rising sea levels and unpredictable seasons, conversations about climate change and climate resilience are a vital moment for Africa and the world at large because of the current need to accelerate the transition to renewable energy and phase out fossil fuels quickly but also fairly.
What will make us cross the finish line in the fight against climate change is more finance from wealthy countries. Still, our collective efforts must not stop there. The terms must be favorable without pushing developing countries into more debt.
The Conference of the Parties of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, COP29, is scheduled to take place in Baku this month, and the question remains, will COP29 address the issue of climate finance without pushing developing countries into more debt? William Evans, Mutawazi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Evans, for the details. Now to health matters. Health professionals are urging people to prevent sexually transmitted diseases and seek early treatment, warning that untreated infections can lead to serious complications, including infertility and certain cancers. We have more. At the Coronam Health Center in Kimisagara, Nyarugenge District, over 4,500 people with HIV receive antiretroviral treatment, including 350 children born to mothers with HIV, who are monitored until age 2 with an infection rate of 5%. Nizeyimana Beatrice, a nurse for infectious diseases, notes that besides HIV, other sexually transmitted infections are also prevalent. In a month, we receive nearly 450 cases of STIs, with syphilis being the most common. Many individuals present with past discharge from their genitals, and we also see children brought in with past discharge from their eyes, often born to parents who have these diseases. This is particularly common among those who do not regularly follow up on their health. Many patients tend to come to the hospital at a late stage due to feelings of shame or embarrassment about seeking treatment for these conditions. At Muhima Hospital, around 2,000 people are on antiretroviral treatment, most of whom are young. The hospital's team is intensifying efforts to follow up on patients with sexually transmitted infections. Some residents believe that there are specific factors contributing to the rise in sexually transmitted diseases. Many individuals contract these diseases due to drug use, while others engage in sexual activities driven by poverty and a desire for money, ultimately leading to infections. Additionally, ignorance about these health issues may also lead to that, and conflicts among couples can result in infidelity, further increasing the risk of contracting STIs. Dr. Berabose Charles from RBC's Sexually Transmitted Diseases Department warns that untreated infections can have severe health consequences.
navuga ko nko ku badamu zishobora kwangiza uburyo bw'imyororokere kwari ukuntu kuzirwara.
I would say that for women, these diseases can severely impact their reproductive systems, as they may lead to obstructions in the fallopian tubes. For men, repeated infections can damage the urethra. Additionally, women who become pregnant may experience complications if the fallopian tubes are obstructed, potentially resulting in ectopic pregnancies where the fertilized egg implants outside the uterus. Furthermore, some may contract the human papillomavirus, which can lead to cervical cancer, while others may be at risk of liver cancer. We also urge people to consult a doctor as soon as they notice any symptoms, rather than rushing to find medication without proper diagnosis. It is essential to understand the specific disease you may have. According to the Rwanda Biomedical Center, from July 2023 to June 2024, 5% of 4 million hospital admissions showed symptoms of sexually transmitted infections, including syphilis, chlamydia, and trichomoniasis, most commonly affecting people aged between 20 and 29 years of age. HIV prevalence in Rwanda stands at 3% among those aged 15 to 64, while hepatitis B and C affect 0.25% and 0.21% of the population, respectively. Still on health matters, the Ministry of Health has advised all 49 survivors of the Marburg virus outbreak to remain vigilant, as evidence suggests that the virus may not be entirely cleared from the body and could persist for an extended period. Dr. Menelas Nyeshimana, head of the Department of Health Workforce Development at the Ministry of Health, outlined the underlying factors and recommended precautions to manage this ongoing risk.
From previous experience in countries where Marburg virus and the closest cousin of it, Ebola virus, has been seen, we already know from those experiences that the virus can remain in sites that we call immunoprivileged sites. So these are sites that have their own specific barrier, whereby the medication would not easily penetrate in those areas and kill off the virus. So it's inside the eye. The virus can stay inside the person who has recovered. It can remain in the eyes for some time. It can remain the semen, which means the testis. It's an environment where the virus can stay longer. Often it can also go beyond 1 year and be expelled through semen. And rarely, it was also mentioned that it can be in some cells in the brain, but it's much rare. It can stay for a short time in the breast milk, for example, in the vaginal fluid. But we would very much emphasize for two sites. The semen, because when the virus persists in the semen, then you need a buy-in from person behavior to ensure that that virus is not transmitted to the same person. The virus that persists in the eye, inside the eye, so that you always remember that whenever the doctor has to perform surgeries or other procedure inside the person's eyes, they make sure that they have appropriate personal protective equipment so that they are not infected. So for the people who have recovered from this outbreak in Rwanda, we will be with them for 1 year at minimum. We can even go beyond, so that we are able to manage their physical sequelae. Probably they have poor effort tolerance. They are not having the same strength as they used to have before they got sick. We also have to manage their mental sequelae. This was a very, very hard disease. This that can kill up to 90%. You can understand everyone was very scared. The patients were very scared. The care providers were very scared. So you can believe passing through that experience will leave some sequelae that we need to manage clinically. And also we have to manage also the viral persistence in those sites by scheduling frequent visits to check the semen, to check several body fluids until we document that the virus is no longer there. Well, for example, if we say that the virus can remain in the semen, we want people to have, I would call it sexual hygiene, to make sure that when they engage in sexual activity, it's done properly. For example, they have to use condom, that's mandatory. Things that we give to people who recover from the treatment center when they leave, make sure that we provide them condoms, or we ask them to ensure that they use condoms. They have to dispose the condom very, very properly and very carefully, so that they make sure that the environment is safe, because even a small leak of semen on the bed sheet, which are washed by someone else or cleaned by someone else who has not been exposed to the virus, they will get the virus from there. So they have to be very, very careful whenever we talk about sexual activity. We want them to be very faithful, not having more than one or two partners. Should have one, and make sure that the partner also is very well informed. Actually, we also make sure that we give good information, proper information to the patient, but also to the partner, so that they are together and they support each other. For the virus that remain inside the eye, we make sure that whenever we are scheduling these eye clinic visit to check on the secular sight loss and so forth, the receiving ophthalmologist is very much aware that whenever they have to do procedure inside the eyes, they have to wear appropriate personal protective equipment, so that the virus is not passed to them and then passing to other people as well. So we will continue to share all this information. We make sure that we share this information on different platforms, so that people are very much aware of what is Marburg, how do we prevent Marburg to come back, how do we prevent a secondary transmission from someone who has recovered, because it requires collaborative efforts. It requires the person who have recovered, the people who have recovered, to be very well informed, and if they have questions, we answer them on time, and they're able to tell what is the expectation in terms of resuming their normal life. We ensure that their families are very much well informed, and the general population at large should be very well informed and very supportive to the people who have recovered from the Marburg virus.
Moving ahead to other matters, Janine Uramba-Riziki, a survivor of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, has lived in France for 30 years. Separated from her family at the age of 3, she's now searching for her relatives and uncovering her Rwandan origins. We have more with Enora Gladys.
Bonjour, je me présente, je suis Janine Uramba-Riziki, j'ai 33 ans.
Muraho, nitwa Janine Uramba-Riziki, mfite imyaka 33.
For her first time arriving in Rwanda, Janine Uramba-Riziki does not speak in Rwanda, and she's not familiar with any place in Rwanda. Moreover, she does not even know if she has any relatives. However, after 30 years living in France, she relies on Godieuse Wanyirigira to help her explain her life journey.
Janine yageze mu Fransa mu kwezi kwa gatandatu mu ntango z'ukwezi kwa gatandatu.
Janine arrived in France in June 1994. She came together with 32 other kids who were brought by Chaîne de l'Espoir, and they were badly injured. And then this organization started requesting families to adopt them. Janine was around 3 years old, while others were in a range of 8 to 12 years. There were 3 girls and a boy. 1 year after, the boy met his family because these organizations had an agreement with Rwanda to return the children back after being treated.
Bari barumvikanye na leta y'u Rwanda yuko abana bazagaruka nibamara gukira.
Despite the challenges, she expresses hope in finding her family members and a strong desire to learn more about her motherland. She really has hope, although she came here, saying that even though she won't get her family, but she's eager to know and explore her motherland. She just wants to make a step to know her country of birth because she does not remember anything about Rwanda. They expressed their gratitude to the Rwandan government for all the assistance provided to help Janine Uramba-Riziki reconnect with her family.
umuntu wumva afite amakuru ahagije rwose yumva ko hari icyo baba bahuriyeho.
Anyone who has some sort of information that can help Janine to get her family, or who thinks that they are related to Janine by blood, we can try and make DNA tests to confirm it. And we was very lucky that the authorities, including the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, are really helping us to get Janine's family. It is very good, and allow me to take this time and thank them. Gorgeous Wanyirigira mentions that Janine was very happy to arrive in Rwanda, especially due to the way she was welcomed and being able to see her birthplace. Currently, Janine Rambariziki is 33 years old and lives with her family in France. Enora Gladys, RwandaTV News. Now to Rwanda's economic sector, there are still numerous challenges in using EBM machines, particularly for small business owners, especially those with limited education who struggle with the English language interference on these machines. They request that the Rwanda Revenue Authority should prioritize helping traders find solutions rather than quickly imposing fines. We have more. Some of the traders from Rubavu, Nyagatare and Rusizi districts expressed that they clearly understand the benefits of using EBM. We also know the importance of EBM. When one uses it regularly, you as the trader you gain, as well as the customer. In recent days, concerns were raised in Rubavu and Rusizi, where some traders have closed their shops out of fear of being penalized for not using EBM receipts. The challenges in using EBMs are primarily due to lack of knowledge and other issues beyond the trader's control. They request that the Rwanda Revenue Authority address these issues before imposing penalties. The EBM system is somehow hard to use because it is scheduled in English, and the Kinyarwanda included, we find it hard to read. To most of us, it is challenging. In response, the Rwanda Revenue Authority Commissioner General Ronald Niwenshuti assures traders that the Rwanda Revenue has created accessible, self-guided learning resources for EBM usage. In every district, we have an officer in charge of overseeing the use of EBM. Whether it's a trader or a resident with questions or issues, they can approach this officer for inquiries or assistance on how to use EBM. In some areas, we even have up to 5 officers to increase knowledge about EBM. Additionally, we have set up an online resource for those who have internet access, providing an easier way for individuals to learn how to use EBM on their own. Notably, the addition of EBMs has substantially raised value-added tax revenue from 259.1 billion Rwandan francs in 2013-2014 to 792 billion Rwandan francs in 2023-2024, which marks a 205% increase. However, the law states that failure to issue EBM invoices carries severe penalties. Large taxpayers face a 20 million Rwandan francs fine. High taxpayers pay a fine of 10 million Rwandan francs. Medium taxpayers 5 million Rwandan francs. And small taxpayers pay a fine of 1 million Rwandan francs. Now to more news. Rwandan author and writer Richard Hategekimana has launched his book titled President Paul Kagame's Journey to Victory. This book aims to celebrate President Paul Kagame's leadership legacy. We have more with Saula Sandra.
The book dives deep into the transformative leadership of President Paul Kagame, highlighting his journey from young labor to the leader of nation that has undergone remarkable change. The author, Richard, expresses his commitment to his book.
Iki gitabo kirimo n'indorerwamo.
The book shares the mindset and methods of His Excellency Paul Kagame, highlighting how love and heroism have shaped Rwanda's journey. We would not be sitting here today if it wasn't for the transformative efforts of Paul Kagame. We have been able to learn and grow because of the path he has paved for Rwanda, which has become a legacy for every Rwandan, and it's a gift from our president.
Some of the students who attend this launch say that this book is educating and it is going to help them by learning from it.
The lesson from this book, which is written by that man, first lesson we can get from it is there is strong, I can say like strongness of the country, which have their roots from the passions of our president. So as a youth, we have to study from that factor in order to build a good country and to develop our country. Secondly, we have to study the past events of our country so that we can avoid bad events or bad deeds or bad actions to happen again and to avoid discrimination.
I'm also here as an attendant of the launching of this book. So I've been reading a lot of books, but actually this interests me too much because it talks about the reality of which I partially lived. So His Excellency Paul Kagame is my president, and I learned a lot from him according to the history that we lived as the country. So I'm not yet reading it, but when I get to cover it up, I will be ready to precise out what is inside.
Richard Halilmana has written 5 books, especially about the leadership of His Excellency President Paul Kagame. He believes that President Paul Kagame's leadership has given Rwanda a significant voice on the international stage, and this should be taught in schools. Sola Sandra Tumkund, RTV News.
And to this, we put an end on tonight's bulletin. Thank you for tuning into today's broadcast. On behalf of the technical and news production team, we wish you a restful weekend. Until next time, goodbye.